Have you ever wondered how we should seek the voice of God? Is it in a loud, earth-shaking revelation or something much more subtle? Stay with me, because the story we are about to explore will not only inspire you, it will also completely change the way you listen for Him. This is the story of Elijah, a prophet who encountered God unlike anyone ever had before. Our story begins in a time of great turmoil for the people of Israel. King Ahab ruled, along with his wife Jezebel, and under their reign, the worship of false gods like Baal had become rampant. God sent Elijah to bring a message of repentance to Israel, declaring drought upon the land as a sign of His power and judgment. For 3.5 years, not a single drop of rain touched the earth, and people feared famine. Amidst this chaos, Elijah became the prophet through whom God demonstrated His power. In a fiery showdown on Mount Carmel, Elijah stood alone against 450 prophets of Baal. They spent the entire day calling upon their false god, pleading for fire from heaven to consume their altar. Nothing happened. Then came Elijah's turn. Simple and humble, Elijah doused his altar in water and prayed. Instantly, fire fell from the sky, consuming the offering, the wood, the stones, and even the water in the trench. People cried out, acknowledging Yahweh as the one true God. It was a momentous victory for Elijah, right? But the story doesn't end there. Despite this miraculous display, Jezebel was furious and vowed to kill Elijah. Fear gripped him, and he fled into the wilderness. Have you ever felt like you've done all you can but still face resistance, criticism, or even danger? That's exactly where Elijah found himself, alone, hopeless, and convinced his life was over. He sat under a broom tree and prayed for death, saying, "It is enough. Now, O Lord, take away my life." But God wasn't done with him yet. God sent an angel to strengthen Elijah. This divine messenger provided food and water, encouraging him to continue his journey. With renewed strength, Elijah walked 40 days and nights to Mount Horeb, also known as Mount Sinai, the place where Moses once encountered God. Exhausted and confused, Elijah found shelter in a cave. That's when God spoke, asking, "What are you doing here, Elijah?" Elijah poured out his heart. He confessed how he felt alone, how he believed he was the only faithful servant of God left, and how his life was under threat. Have you ever felt like you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders, that no one else understands or is willing to help? Elijah's honesty with God is a reminder that it's okay to bring our fears and frustrations to Him. God told Elijah to step out of the cave because he was about to pass by, and this is where the story takes a surprising turn. A powerful wind tore through the mountains, shattering rocks in its path. Surely, Elijah thought, God must be in the wind. But he wasn't. Then came an earthquake, shaking the very ground beneath Elijah's feet. But again, God was not in the earthquake. Next came a roaring fire, blazing with intensity. But still, God was not there. Finally, after all the noise and chaos, came a gentle whisper, a still small voice. It was in that whisper that Elijah encountered the presence of God. Pause for a moment and think about this. Our lives are filled with distractions, noise, and sometimes even chaos. We often expect God to move dramatically, to speak in a way that is unmistakably loud or visible. But here, Elijah learned that God's voice can be quiet, gentle, and intimate, requiring us to truly stop and listen. After this encounter, God gave Elijah clarity and purpose. He was instructed to anoint new kings and appoint Elisha as his successor. God also revealed to him that he was not, in fact, alone. There were 7,000 others in Israel who had not bowed to Baal. This revelation reminded Elijah, and reminds us, that we are never as alone as we think we are. The story of Elijah teaches us several things. First, it's okay to feel overwhelmed or fearful, even when you're walking in obedience to God. Second, God strengthens us in our weakest moments, providing what we need to carry on. And third, perhaps most importantly, God's voice isn't always found in the spectacular. Sometimes, His most profound messages come through the quietest whispers. So how do we apply this to our own lives? Consider creating moments of stillness in your day. Turn off the noise, pause your busy schedule, and simply listen for Him. God might not show up in a windstorm, an earthquake, or fire, but He's always present, waiting to meet us in the quiet. If this resonated with you, take a moment to reflect and share this story with someone who needs encouragement. And remember, God's voice is nearer than you think. You just have to tune your heart to listen.